Alright, this video starts with problem number 32, and we didn't cover all of this in class in this particular year, but we know the amplitude, so the amplitude here is 2, and we know the period, because the period is just 2 pi divided by k. In this case, k is equal to 3. And the amplitude is 2 because the absolute value of -2 is +2. So, to get the phase shift, what you want to do is you want to take whatever's inside the parentheses and set it equal to 0. So I'm going to add pi on both sides. So 3 theta equals pi divided by 3. And so since it's positive, we're going to say this is to the right by 3. The next problem says we need to write an equation where the amplitude is 4 and the period is 2 pi. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have y equals, and then we're going to do plus or minus 4, because remember we always want to have the plus or minus. And then we put down the cosine. And then to find out what k is, 2 pi divided by k is equal to the period, which in this case is 3 pi. Multiply both sides by k, or cross multiply, and we get this. And then we divide both sides by 3 pi. That cancels, that cancels, that cancels, and we're left with 2/3. So I'm going to call this 2/3 theta. Here's another problem where we didn't really do the entire thing, but I'm going to show you a little bit about this one. So what we have here is we are going to have a sine graph, and the amplitude always goes in front. So we got plus or minus 2 in front. So then for the sine, this vertical shift at the end just goes right here to be -1. Now we have a period of 2 pi. Since the period is normally 2 pi, I'm not going to put any number in front of theta. I'm just going to put theta. And since my phase shift is pi, what we normally do is we're going to put in the opposite. So this is going to be minus pi. So if it was plus, we would put, if it was negative, we'd put plus, but it's positive, so we put minus. And this is my answer. Alright, this next one wants us to start chapter 12 by finding two arithmetic means between 12 and 21. Now, an arithmetic mean means we need to add a certain number to get from one to the other. If it said geometric, it would be multiply. So here is the formula that we have set up. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1d. You don't need to remember this formula, but you do need to know that this is the one we use for arithmetic. So my last number is 21, and my first number is 12, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. So we got 4 minus 1d. So 21 equals 12 plus 3d. And we should be able to solve from here from subtracting 12. And we get 9 equals 3d. So 3 equals d. Now, we're not finished with the problem until we actually figure out what's inside here. So 12 plus 3 is 15. 15 plus 3 is 18. And now we have our two answers of 15 and 18. Alright, we have another arithmetic series this time, and we want to find the sum. So the sum is n divided by 2, a sub 1 plus a sub n. Now our problem here is that we don't have a sub n, So we have to use that first formula that we had on the last problem. So a sub 1 in this problem is 3 halves plus 11 minus 1. And what is d? Well, how do we get from 3 halves to 1, or from 1 to 1 half? Well, we take the second number minus the first number, and we should have it. So 1 minus 3 halves turns out to be negative 1 half for d. So when I plug this into my calculator, we will find out it turns out to be negative 3.5, or negative 7 halves for those people who want to use fractions. So now we need to come up with the sum. So we have S sub n equals 11 terms divided by 2. The first term is 3 halves plus negative 7 halves. So we put this into our calculator. We find out that the total is negative 11. This time we have a geometric sequence, and we want two geometric means in between negative 2 and 54. So we're going to use the formula a sub n equals a sub 1 r to the n minus 1. And so let's fill in what we know. 54 is the last term, negative 2 is the first term, r we don't know, that's what we need to figure out. And once again, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So I put to the fourth, to the 4 minus 1. So we wind up with 54 equals negative 2r to the third. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2, and we wind up with negative 27 equals r cubed. Now we're going to take the cube root. To find the cube root again, it's in the math menu. So you do math 4, and then you plug in negative 27, and you get the answer of negative 3. So once again, we are not finished. We have our value of negative 3, and so we plug this in, and we get negative 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18, and when I multiply that by negative 3, I get positive 54. And we will go on to the next video with problem number 38.